Alright, people.
Yeah.
So, for our main topic today.
Yes.
For our season finale topic.
Yes.
How about you let us know what we're talking about?
So today we're talking about something like super, super big. Hopefully in the coming episodes we're going to break it down into even more finite levels.
Yeah.
But we just want to talk about being African in the diaspora and what that means. And all the different things that come with it. We believe that we are Africans. We believe we're in the diaspora. Yeah. So that's what it's about. And hopefully, it kind of goes with the general theme of the show.
Yeah.
A lot of it was we wanted to be a representative / conduit of Africans in the diaspora.
Conduit, I like that.
Yeah, right. Not representative. Representative is too hard. Conduit is nice because then it's like, it's not me. I'm just
not as much pressure.
Exactly. So that's kind of what this is always supposed to be about. And, I think if you go through all our episodes, you'll be able to see that that's what we always try to do. We always try to pull, what's happening. We always try to talk about what's happening even here in America, but we always try to keep our perspective, right?
Yeah.
And, obviously we're more than just Africans. We're Americans as well. We're this, we're that. But that's kind of the voice we try to elevate more than anything. So,
exactly.
what do you want to say?
I mean, to piggyback off what you're saying, exactly that, in the sense that we're hopefully serving as a mirror of what people in our position are. Because I think it's hard. There's a dichotomy with us where we are African and we feel so closely rooted to our African ancestry and culture and all of that. But we've been raised in a very different environment. And with that, you kind of have a duality about you. And it's definitely not very much represented. Typically you're either very Americanized and that's one version of what you're seeing, or very much so an African that was raised there and is first generation, and all you've ever known is Africa. You come here as maybe a college student, and
right.
You know what I'm saying? You never really get very many voices of our sort. So I think this platform is hopefully meant to mirror what maybe others are thinking and how they're feeling about a variety of different topics. And, I think we've kind of accomplished that thus far.
I think so. Yeah, and I think it's important too, just because it's a growing number of us, right?
Yeah.
It's an explosion. I don't know if other people see it, but being in it, I see it, and it's everyone is African. Everyone has a connection some kind of way. So it's important that we,
And for me, notice how I didn't say American. I said we were raised in a different culture. And I say that to say Africans are freaking everywhere. I'll even speak for Nigerians. We're on every continent and every nook and cranny, if you will. And immigration is such a hot button topic, but again, Africans definitely utilize that to the fullest.
At this point, even if they close all the doors to every country, it's too late.
Too late.
We're already in there. We've infiltrated.
Exactly. So it's wherever we might be, we just know we're somewhat other. Even if you were raised here from age 5 or born here, even you still feel you're other in a certain sense, and whether you're in America or Italy or Germany or wherever you might find yourself. So again, we're hopefully gonna serve as a voice not only for American Africans or African Americans, however you're gonna say it, but for Africans who find themselves in other cultures and want to still hold on to their roots while being somewhat assimilated to their new environment.
Yeah, and going along with that, I think that we should kind of talk about being here in America.
Yeah.
Are there any drawbacks? What are the drawbacks do you think? We can start with the negative first. Just in life. Do you any drawbacks that you think that we face as a people or individuals, whatever?
Well, what I had just mentioned, in the sense that we do feel the other. You know what I mean? We're almost a subsect of Black people in this country. There's, African Americans, and then there's Africans.
Yeah.
And what actually, I've always known that, but what actually had me thinking about this more recently is I was in an Uber recently. The Uber driver asks me, or he was really just talking, giving me an anecdote about something that happened with him and another customer.
Right.
He's well, wait, are you African American or are you African? He made that distinction.
What was he?
And that was he's African American.
Okay.
And that's the first time that distinction has ever literally been posed to me. It's always been in the back of my mind, or it's always been in media or whatever.
Right.
We all know it to be a thing. But he asked because he was talking about, again, his communication with another customer, and that customer was African. And he was just explaining his viewpoint and how, he's always tried to be somebody who, as an African American, keeps in mind that slavery was a thing and how he approaches all others, or blah, 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 blah. It was a very deep thing. I don't even really want to, I was very surfaceful with that explanation, but I don't really want to get into it. Either way, he asked me that question and I obviously answered. And I answered by saying I'm African. Even though to white people or people who are not black, they would paint us all with the same blanket. Yeah. So anyway, I say all that to say, again, we feel like we're other, and not only are we other compared to white people or non-blacks, if you will, or people that feel like they own this country, however you want to put it, we're also, I feel like we're other amongst black people as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting. I think it's definitely one of the things that we have to work towards fixing. Yeah. Like, I think it's a problem to feel like we're other. That's what I'm saying. Because we're, like, as much as, like, what you just said, essentially what you said, the people that, like, are not black, right? Yeah. They don't see a distinction. They're like, yo, you guys are all the same. Like, you guys are black. Like, you can say you're from here, like, you're all the same. And I think it's interesting why I think, like, we should always have that respect of, like, the differences are important. They're important to note because there's a level of respect and there's a level of, like, there's a level of, I don't know where I was listening to something where it's like, my great-grandfather was a slave versus like your great-grandfather wasn't a slave. Yeah. Like, there's a respect there. Like, you have to give that. But ultimately, we're in the same path. We're in the same journey. And a really good story that kind of puts all this together. I probably told you guys about this book. It's the last book I read. Or I listened to it. It's called Homegoing. Okay. It's by, I can't remember her name. It's by this lady. She's Ghanaian. But it basically tracks... Yeah, it's available on Amazon and everywhere. So, like, I think they probably won awards. One of the best books out there. But it basically kind of tracks these two sisters that are from Ghana, basically when slavery began. And, like, one of them becomes a slave. One of them, like, stays in Ghana. And it just traces their bloodlines up to, like, current time. And it's just amazing how the two families have, like, completely different experiences. Yeah. Just because, like, one became a slave, came to America, one stayed in Ghana, and, like, how, like, eventually the person, like, of course, because we all migrated here, right? So the way the story kind of makes it more interesting is eventually the family from Ghana, like, comes to America. But then, like, they're so, like, their worlds apart. They can never connect. They would never look at each other and say, like, oh, we're like family. We're one and the same. But, like, that's really how it is. Like, we really are, like, one and the same. Which is, again, answering your question on how or what a drawback is. I brought that up as a drawback in the sense that, like, I mentioned, when others are looking at us, others that are not black, they're seeing us as one thing. And we've already fragmented ourselves where we can almost not relate. And that guy asking me, am I African or African American? It felt like there's, like, he acknowledges a difference, but not in the way where it's like there should be camaraderie with that difference, in the way where it's like you can never understand if you're not African American. And it's like, yeah, it's different. But what we're always trying to tell the white folk are, we're different, but we're the same. Yeah. And we all, when we cut, we all bleed the same. So we should operate under those pretenses. Yeah, definitely. And not allow the separation to just draw us further apart. And then, again, kind of, not to get too political on us, get those, the powers that be to keep suppressing us. Yeah. And having that power over us. When you're separated and segmented, you know, there's no powers and numbers anymore. Divide and conquer. Yeah. And I think it's important. I think the approach really, to me, it should be like, kind of like with Muslims, at least that's how I was taught. Yeah. As like, we know there's different fractions. Sects and stuff. But when I was growing up, like, I was told, like, you're a Muslim. It was like, if someone, I was like, oh, what's the difference between, like, you know, you learn different things. Like, what's the difference between this and this? They're like, you're just Muslim. Like, there's no, you don't subscribe to any of, and like, I think, for me, I really like that because it's like, I'm not calling myself anything else. Like, I'm just Muslim. Like, don't ask me if I'm this kind of Muslim. I'm just a Muslim. Like, what I believe is a Muslim is what I am. And that's all. Like, I don't look at it as we're different. Like, of course we have differences. Yeah. Huge differences if you really think about it. But ultimately, it's like, to the outside world, you don't have to know our differences, right? It's kind of like the same thing we're saying. Like, you don't have to, I don't want you to look at me and say like, oh, you're African American, because then that's when they're going to be like, oh, I like Africans. I don't like African Americans. Or I like African Americans. I like Nigerians. I don't like, you don't need to come and talk to me about that. You just need to know all of us, accept all of us. Like, if you're going to like me personally or not like me, like, let it be because of that and not because of anything else. So.
Have you always ever felt what I've said, like, in the sense that you always felt like, although I'm Black to these
definitely.
people, I am African.
Definitely. I think that for me being that, so I grew up in Nigeria. I came here like in middle school.
Yeah.
So I always felt the clear difference between me and African Americans.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, really, right? Like, because before I came to the U.S., like, I was an American citizen, so I was like, oh, like, I'm African American. Like, I really thought like African American meant like I'm African and I'm American. Like, so exactly. So when I came here, I was like, oh, like I can see like I'm different, and it's also like so many other things. It's not even fair to be like because of African American. It's like I didn't feel American more than anything else. It was like I had a different accent. I didn't have like a lot of like childhood shared experiences. Like I didn't relate. So I was like, oh, like I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like even something as simple as like people want to play basketball. I'm like, oh, I've never played basketball before. Like I don't want to be the one that sucks. So it's like I'm just gonna stay over here. Like little things like that you just kind of stand out.
And you want to know something though? Interestingly enough, I have the same exact feelings you feel, but I came here when I was like 5. Before I really even had a concept of what home meant, like what Africa meant, you know what I mean? Or what America meant. Like they were kind of one and the same. But I felt exactly the same way. You know why? I think because the homes we retreated to, we knew were so different than our African American counterparts.
There was no connection. They couldn't understand it because they'd never seen anything
culturally speaking, the food I ate when I went home, the amount of TV I was allowed to watch or not watch, you know what I mean? Like the chores I had to do or not do, like stuff like that is what I think kind of creates that difference or divide, if you will. And separation. I don't even necessarily think it's, you know, the society at large that's trying to impose these things on us. I do think it's just on a very individual level.
Exactly.
What you're doing at home is
and I think it also comes down to how open both sides are, right? Like I think a lot of times like Africans, like our parents, like their generation, like they were maybe not as open to sharing their culture because they're kind of like, oh, like we're different, like we're just here to grind and hustle, and like we don't have time to be sharing stuff with you. And African Americans, I don't know, but I feel like it's probably the same thing where it's like, oh, like what are you guys doing? Like it was like they turned up their nose a little bit, so it's like both sides turn up their nose at each other. And it's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm like, I'm not talking to you either. So like now I feel like it's different because now like we're mixing. Like you literally like kind of were talking about Gold Link earlier, right? And I remember I asked you, like, I was like, oh, is he African? Like, because his album's called Diaspora. He has songs with like Malik Berry and Wizkid, and it's like, damn, like we're mad connected now. Like it's almost like we're both learning each other on a deeper level. I think we're like working
towards kind of mending that divide.
I think so. I think so in a way that we don't even realize because. I think the first step is being African isn't like a negative thing
any longer,
right? Like,
or as much as it once was.
Yeah, like it's not like I never really went through this because I was a cool guy, right? But I know a lot of people talk about it like they were African booty scratcher, and I was just like, like nobody ever talked to me like that. Like, but you know, like now, like I don't think that's a thing. Like I think it'll be
definitely.
Weird.
Like I can still is, but not to the same degree.
Not to the I can. In my word, I'm like I can imagine Africans making fun of the other people now, like. Because Africans are mean too, so the African kids are probably in school like, you don't know jollof fries, ha ha ha. Like,
do you know why I say I think it's still a thing? I feel like the kids who are probably still just coming here are probably still going through it. Maybe not. I think so.
The
ones that grew up here.
I think so because there's still like a divide of like, like you just came, right?
The
like
clothes
fresh
you're
off
wearing,
the boat.
the way you're talking.
But also along with that, like even that I think is diminishing because. Now, when you come, like, there's more Africans. So, like,
I agree.
There are more people that you're going to be connected to off the bat. And it's like, oh, like, you're not completely random. Like, oh,
and also, like, in popular culture, Africans are being elevated, whether it's in music or film. And, you know, we've been talking about that through these past 15 weeks or so. The shows that are coming up on Netflix or the Davido song that you can turn on 95.5 and hear. It's like, so it's like, okay, you just came, but... You just came from an area where I feel a little bit more connected to them maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. Where
and also just like general globalization, like in general, the people that are going to come to America like are usually the wealthier of the bunch. True. And because they're the wealthier of the bunch, like they're hip to most things that are going on here. So even if they have a different accent and like stuff like that, like they know the Travis Scott song just like anyone else. Like they probably even know it better because they listen to all the like...
Well... For me, I don't think we were ever the ones coming here not being as well versed on what's going on in the States. You know what I mean? Because in Africa, you're watching Disney Channel, like all the other kids, or Nickelodeon. It's like there's really not kids television or you know whatever television really that was catered just to African youth.
Yeah.
Whereas here, they were only exposed to like coming to America. Like that was what they thought Africa
That's
meant.
true.
You
That's
know
a
what I
great
mean?
movie, but
Amazing movie.
it's a
but,
terrible movie
like,
for you to think that that's
exactly.
what Africa is like.
Exactly. So I think it is the fact that popular culture in the States is inclusive of more African themes that, you know, the lines are getting blurred a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. So that's to kind of wrap this up. You know, like I said, we're going to talk about this more and more because there's so much more to talk about.
Hit the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. We didn't even talk about anything.
Yeah.
But I think we should kind of end it off with talking about, like, are there unique opportunities that you think that we have being who we are in this kind of community, society, country, XYZ?
I mean, not to beat a dead horse to the freaking ground, but the fact that we are different, it's like that, you know, adage, like, what makes you different makes you special, if you will.
Oh, sounds like Dr. Seuss.
So although it is, like, at one point, maybe more so than ever, in the past, it felt like a means to suppressing us, a means to making us feel less than. I think now we're using it as a strength, and you are seeing ourselves more represented in media, which, again, media kind of dictates what happens in real life. It's always done so. You know, it
affects perspective.
Exactly. Media is always kind of at the forefront, if you will, at the cutting edge of what's going on socially. So I think because people have embraced what makes them different, you hear podcasts like our own, you see shows like the one that Idris Elba is in, you hear music penetrating the streams, Drake wanting to work with the likes of Wizkid, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we embrace what makes us different and we're not running away from the African booty scratcher term any longer, it makes us feel proud of what we have to offer. And even on a little bit on a lower level, outside of media, I've always been proud of being African because I knew, like, for instance, the teachers thought of the African students as the ones that will bring their homework. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were self-motivated. Education is always a paramount ideology in any African household, whether you're the smartest kid in your class or not. It's just you do your work, if for nothing else, to make something of yourself. So I think that's another thing where we embrace what it means to be African, in the sense that it's a struggle to come here and you want to make your family proud. So you do what you need to do to make them proud. However that means for you. How about you? What do you think?
I agree with you. I think that opportunities-wise, because, like you said, we have growing voices, we have growing opportunities. We're seeing people that look more like us in, like, higher places and places that we're striving to be. So we're more motivated by them, and we have, essentially, like, you feel like you can get there, right? And you're like, okay, like, I can get there. And even, like, if you go to the big firm, the biggest of firms, chances are, like, there's going to be someone that is of the African diaspora. They're going to be, oh, like, we have a connection. Even if, like, not like they're going to give you the job because of it, but you're going to feel just a little bit more comfortable versus if there wasn't. So I think it's important that we keep lifting each other up to be in those places, because even if I don't benefit from someone, like, being the next something, like, my child might, or, like, my cousin or someone, like, you know, like, we're all connected. And, like, especially with our names, we had an episode we talked about names. Like, you could see a name, a lot of names you can see, and you know, like, oh, you're one of us. Like, and not to be like us versus them, but it's a connection, just like, oh, like, you're cool. Like, I hope everything works out for you. Like, just off the bat.
I agree.
I think it's important that we recognize those opportunities and try to hammer at them. Like, use it as much as we can. Yeah?
I think we can leave it there.
Yeah.
Season 2 will bring more on this, for sure, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So shout out time.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's start with...
Remind me of the song for shout outs. Every time we go to shout outs, I always want to sing, but I'm like, I don't have a song to sing. Like, I always think of, like, the Wild 'N Out, like, hey, shit. But that's not a shout out song.
That is not a shout out song. I think that means
I'm going to come up with a song. I'm going to record a song. It's going to be shout outs. It's going to be by me. Then I'm going to become a star.
Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Don't be a hater, guys. I actually want to be a rapper. So I'm working on my craft. Exactly. I'm working on my craft.
Anyway, so speaking of rappers, Jay-Z's a billionaire.
Oh, true. Good transition. I had another transition, but yeah, shout out to Jay-Z being officially a billionaire.
Yep.
Though I thought he was a billionaire like a couple years ago. So I was a little confused.
Actually, no. I know together, him and Beyonce were billionaires. You know that line, of course you're gonna go down when there's $1 billion in the elevator. I knew together they were billionaires. I think they were known to be the richest couple.
Right, no, definitely I agree with that. But I thought he was a billionaire. Dr. Dre was a billionaire. I don't know. I feel like there was something that made us. Well, I think Dr. Dre because of the Beats by Dre.
Yeah,
so they made us sound like it was a billionaire.
I think Dr. Dre was actually the first.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. But they're like
hip hop billionaire.
It sounds like they're saying like no, he wasn't. Like Jay-Z's the first one. That's what they're saying. Like they're saying Jay-Z's the first. So that's why I'm like, oh, like were those reports like false? Like
or was it like? I know, like, or maybe they were trying to say his company, but I thought once your company is worth that much, you are like Kylie Jenner type shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why I was a little confused, but either way, they're all really rich. Being a billionaire doesn't like make a huge difference, but it's good to see people that we know and we connect to on some kind of level.
Do you know what tipped the scale? I know.
Like, I don't know, but I know
I
know they gave a breakdown. So I guess if you went to last year versus this year, you could probably see. But I know it was basically like his sporting agency, his clothing wear, his record label. Music was actually like the lowest thing on like everything that he makes money from.
As per usual.
Yeah, like his music was like basically if he didn't have music, like he would still basically be almost a billionaire. Yeah. So like it was interesting. I think it was a good lesson for a lot of artists.
I
mean,
how much is not lucrative.
Yeah, I think people don't know that though.
Even
like
more
a lot
so
of artists
now
don't
than
know
ever.
that. Yeah, a lot of artists don't know that because they think like you can. I mean, you could become a millionaire, but $1 million to $1 billion is a long journey.
Yeah.
Like people, I guess, probably don't realize that.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Who else are we shouting out?
You tell me.
Oh my god, I can't read my hand. Oh, guys, today is Father's Day.
It is.
Do you say Happy Father's Day to your father?
I did. I was actually speaking to him on the phone on my way here.
Okay, yeah, I called my dad as well.
Yeah, so
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, you know. Shout out to being a father, hopefully a good one. And yeah, we need more fathers and mothers and babies.
Do we?
Yeah. We're on this earth to procreate. I was at a wedding yesterday, and the pastor was like, yeah, may you perpetuate and procreate. And somebody next to me was like, procreate? I'm like, you're getting married to procreate. Like, what do you think this is? Do you think you're getting married to, like, live together? Like, nah, you're getting married to procreate.
I'll hold my thoughts for future.
Miriam, I see Miriam saying yes, procreate, like, on deck. So,
okay.
Yeah, let's all procreate. You know.
I'm not saying anything.
It's okay. The mic's not gonna pick you up, so I can say what you're saying. Let's see what else is there. Baby Fat.
Oh, okay, nice. Yes, Baby Fat is returning. Kimora Lee Simmons is coming back for Baby Fat 2.0. So yeah, that's like an iconic 90s, early 2000s brand.
It is
in the same family as like Fat Farm and. Some of those other, like, what's that one, like the polar bear one? You know what I'm talking about?
The polar bear.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Polar bear. No,
I'm so upset I can't remember. But anyway, there's a few of those brands that we all know that, you went to Marshall's.
Of course.
And they were lining all the racks. So good for her and bringing that back. 90s is having like a resurgence right now, as you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess matter of time. Here we are.
And speaking of moguls or people connected to moguls, exes of moguls.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Miss Cassie.
Sure.
Oh my god, that was so good.
No, that was a far reach.
Attached to moguls, ex-mogul wives.
The whole thing about transitions is it's supposed to feel more seamless.
That was very seamless till you decided you're going to call it terrible. But
anyway.
Cassie's expecting, or did she deliver, or expecting?
She's expecting. I think she just announced her pregnancy.
Yeah, people were mad happy for her on Twitter. Good for her.
She's only been with the one guy though for like 9 months.
Oh, good for her.
Or something like that.
Good for her.
I
saw a lot of people randomly trying to hate on Diddy, and it was kind of weird because people were like, oh, Diddy wasn't taking her seriously, and she found out, and I'm like, you don't know the relationship, first of all, and like,
maybe that's why they broke up. Like, he wasn't ready to move on in that way with her. I mean,
the point is, you don't know. Like, I don't know why her being pregnant is like a chance to hate on Diddy. Like, I'm just gonna assume Diddy's happy with his life, and she's happy with her life. Yeah. So let's be happy.
But okay, you can't lie. It's a natural question.
I mean, of course, but don't hate on him. Don't assume. Don't jump to the assumption.
It doesn't.
You can ask the question.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's brought up in your brain. Like, of course it is. Like, Cassie and Diddy were like,
together forever.
Tom and Jerry. Like, they were one and the same for a while. So I can understand why the first thing you think is like, oh, whoa, I wonder what Diddy's thinking. But you don't have to hate on him. Like, you don't know the reasons why their relationship ended, like Dolapo just said. But other expecting couples, See, that's a better transition.
Oh, okay.
Chris Brown and his new bae. I don't even know her name.
I don't either, but
Karrueche lookalike.
Don't say that.
But
Chris Brown and his new bae. That I thought we were just like, let's keep it respectful. Karrueche and his new bae. You don't think it's? But I don't know what she looks like, so I can't even tell you she looks like.
I'm telling you.
No, I don't mind that being true. Okay. But if we're not gonna say her name, let's not give her another title. Like, okay. How would you like if someone was like, "Oh, I don't know your name, but girl that looks like somebody." Like you'd be like, okay, like you could ask my name,
fine,
and call me my name.
I guess you could say.
And if you don't know my name, like just keep it there exactly.
Whatever.
And Chris Brown is gonna run up on you. Like don't act like. You act like it's one of those celebrities that's
I'd love
nice.
to see him try. Like I'm not gonna go anywhere
I don't know
near
why
him.
you're gonna dare Chris Brown.
No, I said I'm not gonna go anywhere near him. So like, where is he gonna find me?
You're not gonna go to his tour? I think you just announced his tour. Are you a Chris Brown fan?
No. I like his music, but I don't like him. So
you would never support him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
But anyway, yeah, he's expecting another new father to be.
Yeah, shout out to him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of babies coming.
Yep.
Who else are we shouting now?
I don't know. I think that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Should we shout you out small? Just a little bit.
Why?
About Gold.
Oh, yeah, guys. About Gold is my little clothing wear. I'm trying to be a business owner because, you have to own stuff to prosper in life. Yeah. So, yeah, we have shirts. It's called, exactly. It's called About Gold. I have a website. We'll put it down. I'll edit the video. So that's mine.
Don't forget. That would be awkward if you're like, I'll put it right here and there's nothing there.
Yeah, so, yeah, shout out to everybody that's, like, starting businesses, whatever phase you're in, because it's important that we support ourselves.
Exactly, especially our young Africans out there, like we just spent, so long talking about. Yeah. Make something of your opportunities and...
Yeah, something I think that I want to do, this is like a long-term project. Maybe not me. Someone listening can do it, because probably I won't have time to do it.
Okay.
But I saw something a while ago on, like, social media, Twitter or something, where someone in, I want to say Philly, had created like a black book as opposed to a yellow book, where it had like all the black businesses. And I thought that was really cool because like I would love to patronize those specific businesses, but like don't even know them. Exactly. Like even if you watch, I don't know if you watch Killer Mike's show on Netflix, Trigger Warning.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, if you need to watch it first of all.
Yeah, it's on the list. That's why I'm like, oh.
But he had an episode where he was like, he's only going to do black owned stuff. Like, for like a week. Nothing that's not black owned. But he had a hard time trying to figure out what was only black owned, because even the things that look black owned are not really. And then, like, just, like, if you had to do that, could you imagine, like, I only want to do black owned businesses? Yeah. First of all, you're going to be like, I don't even know which one is black owned. It's going to take you a while, so.
Because you can go into franchises or whatever, where it's a bunch of black employees, but lo and behold, it's owned by a Jewish man or whatever it is.
Exactly. So I think we need to, someone out there should do it. And I think it would be a great resource. And then people have less excuses to be like, oh, I didn't know. Like, because I honestly don't know. But I'm trying to find out more. I'm trying to get more involved in, yeah. So we can actually shout out those businesses like right now and be like, oh, this business.
I know this one just popped up in black or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, we'll definitely have somebody out there doing it. Hopefully.
Yeah, and if you know of anyone, of course, hit us up. Let us know people that are cool that we need to be hip to and shout out and bring on a show and all that stuff.
But with that, I think we can close out season 1, episode 15.
Yeah.
Take our little hiatus. Let the people know we'll be back soon.
We'll be back soon. We're going to be back. I don't have the date right in front of me, but 3 weeks essentially. So we're going to be back. We have so many things planned. Like, it's going to be hectic when we come back. Because we're doing this, that. So follow us on social media. Make sure you keep track because we're going to keep posting stuff and try to update you on everything. And it's been a good season. Yeah.
It has been. It's been fun.
It has been fun. I'm glad that we stuck through it. And we're here.
We'll be back bigger than ever.
All right, guys. Enjoy your 2 weeks of summer before we come back.